What's up YouTube, Dow here from Zephyr War Games, and today I am bringing an update to Evil Twin Unchained. So this is the combination of the live twins with the Unchained twins as well. And I've kind of gone down this route rather than a pure route purely because everyone has done a profile of the pure route. And I actually really like the balance that the Unchained twins provide with the Evil twins, especially with the brand new card of Troubled Sunny. Now I'm going to do this video a little bit differently, and I'm going to start off with the combos just so you can see what the deck can do in general. And then once you're interested, you can carry on watching the rest of the video for the entire deck list. So let's start off with the very basic one card combo, and the one card combo is any of your either Kill or of course your Leela. These are your starters, these are your one card combos. So no matter what else is in your opening hand of opening hand of 5, as long as you've got one of these, and keeping in mind you've got Signet Mining that can get to this, and of course their own personalized 10 key in the form of, when I find it, secret password that can lead you to Sunny Snitch. So what do you do with the one card combo? It's very simple. You normal summon the Kill or the Leela, and you special summon the other copy down out of your deck. You then link these up. Now, if you haven't got the Unchained card, what you want to do is you want to go into the link monster that you want its effect off of. So Kill is a draw and Leela is a pop. So in this particular scenario, you want to go in for the Kill because you want the draw of that first. So you can link these two together. Use the effect Kill because you don't control a Leela. Revive a Leela from the graveyard. Link these two into said Leela. Activate Leela's effect because you don't control a Kill. Bring this card back, draw a random card to replace the one card you've just started your combo with. And then in the past you would have to overpay for your links, but in this one you're now going to link into Troubled Sunny. And what this does is this gives you a boss monster of 3300 attack that during your opponent's turn it can tag itself out and bring back your Leela and the Kill, giving you a free pop and a free draw. So that's it, very straightforward and simple one card combo. How does this combo adapt? Well, very simple. Let's say we open up Kill or a Leela, which is our one card combo, and then a form of extender. Ideally, you want it to be one of your live twins, so it can either be your Sunny Snitch that can lead into one of them, or of course it can be your Treat, or of course your Frost. We do also play other extenders in this deck, and when I say other extenders, we play a Cyverse Converter because it is a level 2, which helps you out on the XYZ engine should you choose to play it. So we're going to open up with a Kill, and we're going to open up with the better version, which will be your Frost. So what do you do here? Well, you normal summon down your Kill, and keep in mind it's very specific that your cards can only use their grave effects if they don't control the other counterpart, so it's very important with these cards. You special the Leela out of the deck, you then get to special summon down the Frost because you control a Leela. At this point, again, you need to think ahead of what you want to do, but you're actually going to go a different route this time. You're actually going to go down the Link Disciple and the Link Devotee route, which ends your board with a IP Masquerena. So you can turn your Frost, Leela or Kill, doesn't really matter which one, into your Disciple. You then turn the other component into the Devotee. This will trigger the Disciple's effect to pop the Devotee, while also drawing a card and putting a card back to the bottom of the deck. We're not going to complete that effect because at the moment we are just going to run that we only have the 2 cards, so whatever we draw goes back to the bottom of the deck. This will then produce you 2 non-link tokens, and what you want to do here is you want to use those 2 tokens to summon out your IP Masquerena. And then you want to use your Link Disciple and your Kill and go into your Kill because it just requires 2 monsters including a Kill monster. So again, because we want the draw on this one, that's where you want to go with it first. So you use Kill's effect, you bring back the Leela, you then use Leela plus Kill, and you go into your Leela. Leela will then use her effect to revive said Kill, and you'd get a free draw, replacing one of the 2 cards you've used for your combo. Now you've got a couple of routes here. If you go into Troubled Sunny, you do get the ability to use both of the effects. So what you would do, ultimately, the only issue is it means you have to hold onto your IP Masquerena until further into the combo. So what you do here is you can actually go Troubled Sunny's effect, trigger her off to bring back your Leela and your Kill, draw a card, pop a card. You then have the ability to trigger IP Masquerina's effect. You've got a couple of routes depending on what you play in your extra deck. If you play the Underworld Goddess, then obviously you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 being your opponent's monster, so you clear your entire board off. The best option is that you would use something like Leela and IP Masquerina, and you would go into, ideally, Unicorn, but you can also go into Griffin, and by doing so, depending on where you put your zones, you get a co-link off of Griffin, so you'll get a discard plus a draw. You get to reset any of the spells that you may have used, and it locks your opponent out of effects unless they are linked. So that can cause them a lot of issues. I'm just going to reset this now, and I'm now going to show you where the Unchained come into play. Now, the Unchained still provides you with a lot of options. It doesn't really rely, like these are just your very basic. You've got 1 card combo, 2 card combo, and 3 card combo. So with the 3 card combo, you want any of your starters. This, like we've already shown you, shows you the route that you can get. And then ideally what you want is you want Adhara, and then any of your Unchained traps that can be popped. Now, the best one for you to have would be your Escape, because it gives you more interruption. So what you want to do here, very simply, is you've got a couple of options here. Even if you don't open up the Adhara, you can still pop this with your effect off of your Leela. So it really doesn't matter what you have. The Adhara just gives you the most out of all of this. So what we're going to show you is key skill. Keep in mind that when you use certain effects, you lock yourself into Fiends through this route, and this one, I believe, locks you into Darks. So you've got to be very careful the routes that you take and kind of go from there. So what you want to do, obviously normal summon the key skill's effect, especially summon out the Leela, and then you go from here. You still do the exact same standard combo, and you can go into your key skill. Now, if you want to trigger the pop effect of Leela, then if you don't have like an Adhara or something, then this is the route you can play here. But what you want to do is you still use the exact same effects. You link away key skill, go into Leela's effect, bring back key skill, and then what you want to do here is you want to use your Adhara's effect to pop the trap. The trap will then trigger because it's been destroyed, and that will then let you bring out your Sarama. Use Sarama's effect to pop the Adhara to reset the Unchained trap, and then the Adhara effect will go off to give you your Unchained Soul of Disaster. So then what you do here is you link these two together, and you get to go into your Unchained Soul of Rage. Now, if at any point in the past, because we didn't have the link for, what you could do is you could actually pop one of the Kisa kills and Leela's rather than the Adhara, and then what you do there is you kind of leave that on board, so you've got the effect off of the chain, but you still need to get into your rage. So your end board would then ultimately be from here, linking into your Troubled Sunny. So all you've ultimately done is you've got an interruption with Escape, you've got an interruption with Rage, and then you've got a pop and a draw off of your Troubled Sunny. Not to mention you would have got a draw off of the Key to Kill as well. So this just kind of shows you the different options you have. You still have more cards to play around with, and it kind of just gives you a couple of alternative options and routes that you want to play around. But I just really like this. I like the balance that it gives you control factors with back row, so it's not just simple Dart Ruler and lose. And I also like the fact that it still gives you the synergy between the two decks. Okay, so now I'm going to tidy up, I'm going to put everything in order, and I'm going to take you through the list. The list will be a lot quicker. It's not going to be card by card. I'm just going to go glance over the deck and go from there. So back in a sec. Okay, so we're just going to go over the monster lineup, then I'll show you the spells and then the traps. So for the Live Twins, we are playing triple Key to Kill, triple Leela, 1 Frost and 1 Treat, with a free extender of your Cyverse Converter, and this is only going towards these, and this is mainly if you play the XYZ engine of the Sky Cavalry Centuria to go into Zeus, because it's just a very nice board clear. We've then got triple Aruha, double Rakia, double Abominable Unchained Soul, 1 Sarama, and 1 Disaster. Now, the reason I've gone with the 1 Sarama is you don't want it in your hand, but the downside is if you open it in your hand, you lose part of that recovery trap combo, but it's still very good. The idea behind this is your Aruha is your free special summon, which allows you to trigger more of your effects and still get an Unchained Twin on the board. Rakia is one of the cards that gives you a quick effect to trigger one of your traps during your opponent's turn, or pop an effect during your opponent's turn to bring out Abominable Unchained Soul, which has the effect to discard a card to pop a card on the field. Sarama is the one that lets you pop another card on the field to set one of your Unchained cards from the grave, and then Disaster is basically a bit of a back wall and a bit of a brick, but you do need him to get into your bigger Unchained monsters alongside possibly Abominable. But on top of this as well, if you do go second and get this on the board, you can actually use its effect to link with one of your opponent's monsters, which is really nice. Frost and Treat, both their grave effects. Frost is a little bit better. When your opponent searches a card, you banish Frost to draw a card. Leela and Key to Kill, basically, as long as you control no other monsters, summon the counterpart from the deck, and then convert to, like I said, it's just a free summon. So that's the monsters. Moving on to the spells. So apart from hand traps, this is where the deck would actually adapt quite a lot if you were to go for a pure Live Twin version. Now, the pure Live Twin version basically takes out all of the Unchained cards and puts in hand traps, and then you get to also use the Evil Twin spell card, which is... where is it? In the subtitle. Live Twin Home, because Live Twin Home locks you into only being able to special summon Evil Twins. So that's kind of where you lose the Unchained factor. Anyway, we are playing triple Sunny Snitch. So this card is basically a 10 key. When it's activated, you get to add a Leela or a Key to Kill from your deck to the hand. And then when your opponent normal or specials a monster, you gain 200 life points, they lose 200 life points. Secret password is you get to add a Live Twin or Evil Twin spell or trap, which is obviously going to be your Sunny Snitch, from your deck to the hand. And if you control a Key to Kill monster and you control a Leela monster, you get to add an Evil Twin monster from your deck to hand instead. Signet Mining can be used to search out your converter as a free summon, but ideally you're trying to get into your Leela and your Key to Kill. Abomination's Prison searches out all of your Unchained monsters. Wailing is purely, more times than not, going to be one of them cards that's being set and being destroyed. So there's a card that could be very easily cut. And Called by the Grave is Called by the Grave. Pretty straightforward and simple on that. Now into the traps. So this is where the Unchained version massively differs from the pure version, because you get to play more controlled traps. And with these, you've got Escape of the Unchained, which lets you target an Unchained monster you control, and one card on your opponent controls, destroy both. And if this sent card is destroyed by card effect, you get to special summon an Unchained monster. So the idea of this is you basically just have a trap card that lets you go, cool, pop an Unchained monster that's going to float to then pop one of my opponent's monsters. Abominable Chamber is a basically Call of the Haunted, and if it's destroyed by card effect, again, special summon out an Unchained. And then Torrential Tribute, because your cards, mainly your Unchained cards are like, well, if I get destroyed, I get to float. Torrential Tribute is one of the best cards for that, because it lets you kind of clear board and then regain some of your advantage. Keep in mind that also lets you bring out your Abominable Unchained monster, so you get a 3k monster for free that can discard and pop an additional card your opponent controls. So, straight on to the extra deck. Okay, so for the extra deck, we are playing double Trouble Sunny, triple Key to Kill, double Leela, Link Devotee, one Disciple, one Griffin, one Unicorn, one IP Masquerena, and then one Rage, one Anguish, and one Abomination. So as you can see, the extra deck is actually really, really tight. As alternative options, if you wanted to put more cards in, Sky, Cavalry, Centuria plus a Zeus is an alternative option for the Devotee or Disciple, plus it's also an alternative option should you take out the Unchained altogether. Now the reason I've gone with these ratios is Key to Kill is the most important Evil Twin monster, because it's going to be there to draw into our Unchained cards. It's going to be there to help build us up, and Leela's pop effect isn't always consistent for going first. That being said, you still need the pair of them in order to get into your Trouble Sunny nice and easily, and the Trouble Sunny is you're going to go through at least two of them by bouncing them out and going into these. In a pure version, you would play 3, 3, and 3, but because of this particular version, the additional Sunny and the additional Leela become your Anguish and your Abomination. I'll get onto those in a second. The Devotee and Disciple you've already seen through the combo, which also leads you into IP Masquerena with the option of Unicorn or Griffin. So as you can see, these are the more stun control options. If you wanted to, you could take out the Griffin. That's where you can put in Underworld Goddess. And it's also where you could probably cut Unicorn to put in Underworld Goddess. It just depends on how direct routes you want to go and how alternative routes you want to do as well. Then, of course, for the Unchained, you've got the one Rage, the one Anguish, and the one Abomination. Abomination is less relevant now because we have a boss monster in the form of Trouble Sunny, but keeping in mind that during your opponent's turn, using Rage, it can also lead you into Unicorn, it can lead you into Anguish, and if Anguish survives, it uses one of your opponent's monsters to make an Abomination. Abomination is then going to be popping cards during the end phase as well. Not to mention that if you combo off Abomination with your Trouble Sunny, as Trouble Sunny is a quick effect, she can tag herself out in the battle phase to give you a Key to Kill and a Leela, which is going to ultimately lead you for game, because you're going to get 6 free there, and then adding an additional 2 on top gives you the total of 8 8-5. So it gives you a complete OTK just from these two cards. Keeping in mind that this is a 1-card combo, and then off the back of your Unchained, you should be able to build into this very, very easily. So that's kind of the ideas behind this. Not to mention that Rage gives you the option to go into Abomination if they put a Link 2 on the board, and it just gives you a bit more flexibility. The most instant cut cards are between your Griffin, your Unicorn, and your Anguish, purely because you might not always want to go into Anguish. You'll probably want to go into Unicorn 9 times out of 10. If you're not a fan of Unicorn, you're going to be going into Griffin, but Griffin can only successfully be made off of the back of this particular engine combo here. So that is another one that you might want to consider of going, right, well, I don't want to rely on going down the Devotee engine route, so you want your Unicorn in there to come off of Rage, you want a Underworld of the Goddess, and then you can bump up a Trouble Sunny or a Rage to 2 if you want to as well. So there's a lot of flexibility in this particular version of the deck, which is why I like it. I'm not saying it's better than the pure version. I think the pure version will probably compete a little bit more just because it has that space to put in every hand trap under the sun. But I don't think it has as much of aggressive nature and an aggressive push, and I don't think it has as much of a control push as this particular version. I think the pure version is very one route in the sense that it's go, right, key to kill, Leela, pop, draw, Sunny, pop and draw during an opponent's turn, go from there. Maybe rely on the Devotee engine to set you up your Griffin on a consistent basis with an IP. Whereas with the Unchained, you're pretty much going, right, okay, I'm going to give you another form of disruption that can lead me into an additional form of disruption in Unicorn or pops off of Abomination. I'm giving myself boss monsters, and I'm giving myself monsters that don't like to be destroyed by battle or card effect, and if you do, I'm just going to continue to float. Keeping in mind as well that when you bring out your boss monster from the main deck, your Abominable Unchained Soul, it's a 3k monster that can float, but also a 3k monster that gives you that discard ability to pop a card as well. So you're building up so much interruption, and considering you're replenishing your hand off of Key to Kill and most of your other cards as well, you're not really losing on hand advantage. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Very simple. I hope the combos at the start have kind of shown you what this deck can do and what it can produce. I really like this deck. It's definitely a interesting option and version in comparison to the pure, but it does come down to the personal preference on whether you're like, right, okay, well, I only want to play the Evil Twins pure, I only want to play the Unchained pure. But if you want to be a bit creative and you want to kind of mix it up a little bit, this is definitely a very fun and very powerful route to go, just because, like I said, it balances. So if your opponent's like, you know what, I'm going to lock you out, I'm going to play Floodgates, I'm not going to let you go into the extra deck because of Cypher or anything like that, you go, yeah, no worries, I'm just going to go with an Unchained set with a trap card. That trap card's going to let me out the Floodgate or survive through the Floodgate while also floating and causing as much interruption as possible, so that during my next turn I can go in for my Key to Kills and my Leelas and build up further into the links. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, guys, as absolutely always, stay safe and, of course, happy dueling.